Yes, we are in a constitutional crisis. Today we're going to talk about two things. First, we're going to break down the top 10 policies that Dumpy and company have implemented that are dragging America backward. I want you to have this list so that when you're talking to your MAGA friends and family, you can start to introduce them to the fact that he is not for them. He is only for himself. Remember, leaving a cult is not something that happens overnight. It is a 10-step process. And the first part of that process is introducing reality. Unfortunately, many of them are not going to see it until it hits them over the head, until they are personally affected by it. The second thing we're going to do is talk about taking action, because right now, the most important thing you can do is build a community. We need to build a network. So please forward this video, have people follow me, have people follow other creators, not only here, but on other platforms. Because make no mistake about it, this is a coup. So now let's talk about the top 10 things Dumpy has done in the past 3 weeks and how they are going to affect the everyday American. Number 1, environmental rollbacks. He's overturned numerous environmental regulations. Of course, those of us with critical thinking skills can see exactly what environmental rollbacks will do to our climate and natural resources. And anyone thinking about the future of our children knows we've got to protect the planet that they'll inherit long after we're gone. But if you're trying to reach a MAGA voter, you've got to break it down on their terms, how it's hitting them in the wallet, in their health, and in their daily lives right now. Because when the air gets dirtier and the water gets more toxic, it's not some abstract future problem. It's their medical bills going up, their kids struggling with asthma, and their grocery prices skyrocketing when crops fail. So what does that look like? Dirtier air, toxic water, higher grocery bills, natural disasters, and job losses. Number 2, trade policies and tariffs. Dumpy's imposed tariffs that will disrupt global trade and retaliatory measures taken by our allies. So how does this affect Dumpy's voters? Those tariffs spike prices on everyday items like groceries, but even more so on appliances, electronics, and even cars. What they need to understand is that they are paying more for the very same items while their wages remain the same. So congratulations, because if you wanted a pay cut, you got what you voted for. Number 3, civil and human rights rollbacks. On day 1, he signed executive orders to undermine policies that have civil rights protections, including women, the LGBTQ+ community, and immigrants. I know that the Bible beaters probably don't have many LGBTQ+ friends, but if you're a woman and you have a job, now you're not guaranteed maternity leave. If you are a veteran and you have assistance, guess what? That's part of DEI. Your kid has a disability and has a 504 plan at school, they are currently rolling that back as well. Number 4, healthcare access reduction. I am flabbergasted at how many people after the election realized that the ACA and Obamacare were the same thing. So they voted to take away their own healthcare, and now they don't know how they're going to pay for it. This is what Fox News has taught us that being radical is, healthcare. Did you know that the US is the only developed country without universal healthcare? Number 5, economic inequality. Overwhelmingly, both Democrats and Republicans vote against their own best interests. The difference is, only the Democrats know that they're doing it. So the MAGA base bought his lies, hook, line, and sinker, that he was here for them and that he was going to put money in their pocket. They ate it up all the way to the polls. As he said publicly before the election, he's going to make his rich friends even richer. He's enacting tax policies that favor the top 1%, which only exacerbates the wealth gap that we have in this country. Unless you make over $300,000 a year, don't expect any tax breaks. What people need to understand is that we are in late stage capitalism. The oligarchs are running shit. And they're taking for themselves on the backs of the working American. It is not left versus right. Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News, who's a billionaire, do you think he has a vested interest in making the hardworking American look at the immigrants, look at the LGBTQ community, look at the women? Do you really think that the immigrant who is picking strawberries and doesn't receive Social Security but pays into it is the reason why you're not where you want to be in life? Or is the billionaire who hasn't paid taxes since 2017? This is why it's not only important to pay attention to history, but this is why you don't vote for someone who says that they have concepts of a plan. Because guess what? In 2017, Dumpy put tax plans in place that expired this year. And I can guarantee you that his plan does not include middle-class tax breaks. You know whose did? Number 6, immigration policies. As if it wasn't despicable enough the first time that there are still children who have not been reunited with their parents from 7 years ago. Don't let Fox News sell you that it is criminals. They are arresting legal immigrants, American citizens, DACA citizens, and they are shipping them off to concentration camps in Guantanamo Bay. Those people will never be heard from again. There's no way to know if they have legal representation. There's no way to know if they're humanely treated, and he knows this. There are American citizens and veterans who have served this country who were illegally arrested and detained because of the color of their skin. Think about that. And if you learned anything about what the mustache did back in 1933 and you said, how did that happen? Well, it's happening right now. And whatever you're doing right now is exactly what you would have done back then. Clearly, the humanitarian crisis of mass deportations isn't going to move the MAGA base. But if you can show them how it directly affects them, you may be able to break through. Immigrants make up a massive part of the American workforce. If we deport them, suddenly grocery prices skyrocket, home repairs will take twice as long, and the cost of new homes will go through the roof. And it's not just labor. Immigrants own thousands of small businesses. That cheap restaurant they love, gone. Their handyman, gone. Their cleaning service, gone. But here's the biggest wake-up call. Social Security will collapse even faster. Social Security is funded by workers, including the undocumented ones, who pay into Social Security but never collect. Deporting millions means billions lost in Social Security and Medicare contributions, pushing insolvency even closer. So while Trump's billionaire buddies keep cashing in, everyday Americans are left paying higher taxes, higher prices, and facing a financial crisis of their own. Number 7, educational impact. It was clear as day in Project 2025 that they were going to abolish the Department of Education and siphon that money off to white Christian evangelical schools. Well, guess what's happening now? They are currently in the process of dismantling 504. They are also in the process of not giving federal funding to states that do not obey their orders. What will happen is slowly but surely, counties will not be able to support their schools. And guess what that looks like? Dumpy's out there picking wars with all these other countries. If you watch my video yesterday, you will see Canada is prepping for with us. Do you really think that just like bone spurs that the rich kids are going to go? No. The ones who are not in school because they can't afford or have the desire to send their kid to a white Christian evangelical school are going to be the ones sent to go and fight Dumpy's fight. 8, international relations strain and why that's important. One of the things I'm noticing is that people in the Republican base are having a hard time voting for something that doesn't directly affect them. Here's the thing. Yes, USAID's mission is to help our allies. And by the way, what makes America great is our allies. And in 3 weeks, he's pissed all over it. So yes, USAID is an organization set up to help our allies. But guess what? In 2023, 68.7% of USAID's total obligations came back into the American economy. That is $12.7 billion. That is to our farmers. That is to our manufacturers. That is to our small businesses. And now it's gone. Number 9, public health concerns. In his last administration, when he was undermining the vaccine, even though him and all of his administration got it themselves, over 1 million Americans died due to his negligence. In week 1 of Dumpy's many executive orders that he signed with a Sharpie was targeting federal health organizations like the FDA and the CDC, removing public information from their websites and not allowing any more communication to the public. So now Americans are trolling social media to try to understand what diseases are going around. Make no mistake, this is a military tactic to create confusion and paranoia. Because he's working for Vladdy, he sees the American public as an enemy and he is working from the inside for Vladdy to destroy it. He has cut $4 billion from NIH. Before he was even in office, he got his stooges in Congress to vote against pediatric cancer funding. And he's nominated an anti-vaxxer to run the CDC. Number 10, cultural arts suppression. If you weren't paying attention to Project 2025 before the election, let me hold your hand while I tell you this. Brendan Carr, who Dumpy just appointed head of the FCC, is straight out of the Heritage Foundation. If you haven't read the tea leaves so far of all the little breadcrumbs that Dumpy and Vance have left in the past week, we are in a constitutional crisis and they do not believe in separation of powers. Project 2025 aims to give the president unilateral powers. Project 2025's plan is to abolish the FEC and have it be state controlled by the president. And because they're moving at record speed, they're going to come after people like me and anyone that speaks out against him. I'm not stopping, but just know that what I'm doing right now, which is exercising my right to free speech, which is granted to me by the Constitution, they are saying that the Constitution is unconstitutional. and that they don't have to abide by it, and that they don't have to listen to Congress, and that they don't have to listen to any judges. And what they want to do is go after anyone who has spoken out against Dumpy, whether they voted for him or not. So how do you explain this to MAGA? Project 2025 isn't just about gutting democracy. It's about controlling what you see, hear, and say. They want to defund the arts, censor media, and dismantle cultural institutions like the Kennedy Center, all while shoving state-approved propaganda down your throat. This is straight out of the authoritarian playbook. Silence dissent, erase diversity, and replace creativity with political obedience. You think cancel culture is bad now? Wait until the government decides what books, movies, and music you are allowed to consume. And don't think they'll stop at banning woke art, because once they control the narrative, your voice is next. Do you guys remember Alexei Navalny in Russia? That is where we are headed. I know this is dark, but this is the reality of where we are right now. So here's what you need to do to take action. Number 1, download the 5 Call app and make your calls every morning to your representative. It's very easy to use. Morning after I get my kid off, the first thing I do is make my 5 calls. While making calls is great, it is naive to think that it's going to move the needle. Where this holds a lot more weight is if you are in a Republican state, because behind the scenes, all of the Republicans in Congress are scared shitless of going up against Dumpy because of political pressures. There was a Republican senator who shall not be named. When asked, why are they letting this happen? You know what the answer was? How well did that work for Liz Cheney? How well did that work for Adam Kinzinger? Yes, it is sad that they don't have a spine, but right now we need them to act. So if you're in a Republican state, I need you to do this, and I need you to send this information to every single one of your friends and family, whether they voted for him or not. Number 2, go to generalstrikeus.com and register. General Strike US is a decentralized strike network of committed people who want to bring back our sense of community and build a world for humans, not corporations. The thought process here is that we voted, we marched, we protested, and our government is still not working for us. Studies have found that it takes 3.5% of a population to enact change. So I know I was telling everyone to be careful when they protest. It is very easy for him to call martial law when there are small little groups that can be contained. But if we all do it at once, he can't control us. Pay very close attention to what happened in South Korea last month. Their president was impeached and is now in jail. Number 3, support independent media. We've already seen a huge decline in mainstream media. TikTok has already banned my original account, and I am fighting for my life here. I need everyone to hit the buttons, copy the link, repost, and send it to everyone they know, and ask them to follow, because this is going to be how we communicate with each other until further noted. I want you to do the very same thing for all the other progressive creators out there. Number 4, hit them where it hurts. We've already talked about this. Go to my grid and look at my Costco haul. If you can't get it from Costco or somebody who supports our rights, you don't need it. They want a capitalist country, they're going to get it. Number 5, build grassroots power. I am in shock of how many people are just in a daze, like this is business as usual. It is not. Wake the fuck up. Go do something. Take action. Anxiety is stress without action. The best way to contain your stress is to take action. Connect with grassroots orgs. Go down to your local Democratic office and see if you can help make calls. All of the money that you are spending at Target, put that towards a good cause. Change starts in your backyard, and authoritarians lose when communities are united. This isn't the time to sit back. This is the time to rise the fuck up.